You done.
Thanks, mate.
Happy birthday, mate.
Yeah, happy birthday.
This is 40 years old now.
Cameraman's birthday. Time's running out.
Yeah, check him out. About 40 years old. Cheers, mate.
All right, what are we on? Episode 5 now?
Four. Episode 4.
Episode 4.
Yeah.
BullsEye Pod, welcome in. We appreciate you. Let's get straight into this. First thing, hot off the press, Canan Moodie, SA Young Player of the Year, could not be more deserving. It was inevitable. The season he had with the Vodacom Bulls, coming out of nowhere, defensively, just haven't seen a wing dominate defensively like that in a long time. Brilliant under the high ball, complete game, causing havoc for opposition defenses. Gets the Springbok call-up, gets the book start, scores a try on debut, and has a great season with the Springboks. And what a career. We are very lucky, ladies and gentlemen, that we get to witness the birth of a superstar and witness this career for the next 10, 15 years, Canan Moodie.
Yeah, my God, I don't have much to say on top of that, but congratulations, Canan, and keep it going, sir.
Okay, next article, you've got a couple here.
Yeah, I've got a couple, So I'm going to go with, there was a Business Day article on the return of White to give a much needed Bulls boost, right? So the article was just going into how White has obviously been, with his recovering at home with the abdomen issue, but he will be coming back. And the article just said that White coming back just before the Stormers game is going to be so important for the Bulls going forward into especially this latter part of the season, because the author of the article didn't really. It feels that the Bulls, that Jake White not being there is becoming a bit of a factor now in terms of closing out games, especially. So that was basically what it's about, and I kind of agree with him in some aspects. You do need your general there, and if he's not there for long, it is going to crumble at some point, and that's why he's the coach. Everything runs through him.
Yeah, well, I think it's crazy to believe that your head coach, your director of rugby, being ill and being out and not being part of the setup for a month plus and some change. It's crazy to believe that wouldn't affect the team. Of course it affects the team. And yes, we believe in the coaching staff around him. We believe in Chris Rousseau, Russell Winter, Van Akrea, whomever I'm missing out. We believe in all of them. But losing your head coach in the middle of the season for an extended period would affect any team. And it's actually a miracle it hasn't affected us as much as it has.
100%.
We almost beat Scarlets. We'll get to that in a minute. Yes, we should have won, but the good news is that Jake's on the mend. He should be back for the Stormers game, which we need him. So we wish him a speedy recovery. Hope he gets back soon, and we can put this chapter behind us. But of course, everyone needs to stop looking at the Vodacom Bulls and saying, "Oh, well, why are we in this position? We've taken 2 steps back." I've been hearing people saying we've taken steps back from last season. We actually haven't. We'll get to that in a moment. Yeah. But of course, losing your talisman, your head coach for an extended period is going to affect any team. So next article, Cakes.
Do you have one?
Are we going to do the not going for 3? Mark you away.
Okay, let's do it. So pain and gain for Stormers and Bulls. That's from SA Rugby. So Mark you away. So it was a long article of the Stormers. And then our section, Mark you away, and essentially was just saying that the Vodacom Bulls learned a lot of lessons in terms of closing games out, especially when they had the opportunity to go for the 3 and put the pressure onto the Scarlets, and they decided to go for the corner. Right? Mark and I spoke about this, and I think Mark will agree with me. I'm sure he'll let you know now. But I just feel that we can't go away from what our game plan, from what we do when we're at home and we're away. If we feel that we can, kick the ball in the corner and score a try and mold them over, that's how we play. That's how we played under Jake White and under this coaching staff. So it's high risk, high reward, and more often than not, it's been high reward for us. Yesterday, last week, it was obviously more of a risk, and it didn't pay off. But it can't always pay off. If you live by the sword, you die by the sword sometimes, and we just have to take it on the chin and move on, Marky.
Yeah, 100%, Cakes. I think it's hindsight's the perfect science. So it's easy to sit here now and to look back and say, Ruan should have pointed to the post and gone for the 3 and taken the lead. And you can say that. But what would have happened after that? I know we had 2 opportunities, but nothing's stopping Dragons from getting the ball. Scarlets getting the ball back and scoring a try like they did at the death. 3. If we only sunk one of those 3, we would have still lost the game. Yeah. Scarlets would have scored the try. So again, it's damned if you do, damned if you don't. Of course, if you pull it off, everyone applauds us saying, "Look at the confidence, we love it." If you don't, everyone looks at us saying, "How myopic and silly was that?" The call cannot be affected by the end result. The decision at the time is either it's the right decision or the wrong decision. I backed the decision at the time. I think most Bulls supporters did, because we have a plan in place, a system in place that if you feel that you're applying pressure, that other teams on the back foot, and the Scarlets we're saying they're dead on their feet. They were gassed. You're looking at the opposition saying, "It's a wounded beast. We've got all the momentum, all the confidence. Let's strike now. Let's get 7. Let's land that death knell. You go for it." And that's what we did. It didn't pay off this time. But as we were speaking to Lionel was saying, I mean, that's the call.
Literally, that's
when
how
you've
they
got
play.
the pressure on, we don't release. We don't allow them out of that pressure. So it was the right call at the time. That can't change because we didn't get over the line. We'll leave it there. Last one is Nizaam Carr. There's an article actually on the Vodacom Bulls website. You can go have a nice read of that. It's really good. Chatting about how he was kind of left out in the cold with everything transpiring at Wasps, how they went into liquidation. A lot of players were being laid off. It was in the middle of the season and all these other contracts had been signed. So all of these guys are in the wilderness, out in the cold. No teams are looking to sign them because in the middle of the season, they've bought all their players. And Nizaam was saying, he's looking there saying, I'm unemployed. Where do I go from here? He's saying he got the call from Edgar and Jake.
Unreal.
They said to him, you are always welcome here. Pretoria is your home. Those were his words. And he said that when he came there, he was determined to pay off that lifeline that they gave them. And he did it in his opening game against the Ospreys, was man of the match. And he said that was indicative of how happy and grateful he was to be back and to have been given this opportunity. And he's been brilliant for us ever since.
Yeah, Mark, that is unbelievable. And the Bulls, and just keeps proving, you know what I mean, Marcus, that the Bulls, like, if you're part of this family, you are never lost. You never lost from this family, you know what I mean? Yes, rugby is obviously is a business as well, but Bulls has shown that like it is a family association.
Yeah.
And anyone is welcome here if you've made a name for yourself. And Nizaam Carr will probably, yes, he made his name out in the Western Cape, but when he's done, he'll probably end up being one of the Bulls legends. So yeah.
Okay, Scarlets game chat, Cakes. We lost 37-28. We won't chat too much about it. Obviously, a gut punch.
Yeah.
There's no way to dance around the issue. Scarlets are not a good team. The Vodacom Bulls are a good team. Doesn't matter if it's away or home. We should be winning that game 10 times out of 10. We dropped it. That's just the nature of what happened. I don't think the scoreline's reflective of the game that was played. I thought we absolutely marmalized them in the second half. It should have been a hell of a lot closer. And I think the way the game was going, the pressure we were applying, the momentum we were generating, we should have won that game.
Yeah.
Take nothing away from Scarlets. They had the better first half. Obviously, we had the better second. I thought in the second half we could have put that game to bed. We lost it. As you said earlier, we take it on the chin, we move on. We're still in the top 4. This is not going to have too much bearing on us whether we get a home playoff.
Yeah, I agree, Mark. So I just wanted to just chat about, you said everything. I just want to chat about Tanzima's 50th. Let's have a positive clap for him there because he got his 50th cap and he scored a try. I think in the second half, the bench was really good for the Vodacom Bulls. And Marcus to claw back a 20-point deficit was sensational by the bench. So I think, like we spoke about what happened with the 3 points in that situation. And you live by the sword, you die by the sword. And we had a much better second half. I'm not going to go into the stats because it's irrelevant now. We're moving on.
Let's go into some of them. The one I want to chat about is that we made 89 tackles and missed 13. Yeah. They made 193 tackles.
It's insane. How do you score a try? No, Mark, I forgot about that. Sorry, that was ridiculous. They made 193 and only missed 70, 92% success. And we only made, what was it, Mark? 89 tackles. They made over, just about double the amount of tackles we made. And I mean, they were really up for it. They were at home. And also, Mark, they're big boys. We really struggle to contain their big boys.
That three-headed Tongan monster, Canan Moodie, Via Fafita, and Sam Lawson.
They
monsters.
were just destroying us sometimes around the fringes, Marcos. I think
we've got to give them their flowers as well. Like, as you said, to make 193 tackles and only miss 17, like that is a defensive masterclass from the Scarlets. So they're obviously playing their home ground. They're a different animal there in front of their fans in those conditions. And got to give them their plaudits. Like they were really, really defensively brave and courageous. Yeah. And for that, you got to say, deserve the victory. We'll be back to live another day.
Yeah, and also great. Obviously, if you just look from the outside, it's a great result for the URC. If you get 15th place Scarlets beating 4th place Bulls, that's sensational.
It's this any given Sunday philosophy we were talking about earlier. It makes it exciting. Any team, I'd say outside of Zebra, any team can beat any team on their day. Yeah. Like no one believed that we could go to Dublin and beat Leinster. No one gave us a chance. In a semi-final. Yeah. Leinster had like a 95% win record or something in the URC before the Vodacom Bulls went there and beat them in Dublin. Ridiculous. Everyone said it was impossible. We did it. So Scarlets, I'm not saying, this is pretty close to that. I mean, if they did this at Loftus, it would probably be even more impressive than that win. But, as you said, they're at the bottom, languishing at the bottom, we're at the top. Great win for Scarlets, great win for the URC. Any given Sunday philosophy. Let's move on. KK, off the cuff. The URC mini break. Yeah. We want to just chat about where we are now compared to where we were last season. Because a lot of people are saying in the comments on social, we've taken a step back, we've fallen off, all of that. We just want to dispel that as rubbish because it is. So let's just compare where were we then, where are we now? Bearing in mind that we went all the way to the end last year.
Yeah, 100%. So, Mark, So 7 points. Okay, we are 7 points higher now than we were last season, right? Those are the Vodacom Bulls. 7 points up. Remember last season, guys, how we started the season horribly. Like there was a point in the season where we were all like, the Bulls aren't going to make the playoffs with the URC. And we ended up making the final, and obviously, unfortunately, lost in the lead. But we are still 7 points ahead of where we were at this time last season. So we need to really be very conscious of not
overreacting.
Overreacting and overreacting. Yeah, sorry, overreacting and throwing stones at them and whatnot, Marcos. Because we're in a better position in terms. Yes, we're going through a bit of a rough patch. Every team in a regular season, there's so many games this season, will go through a bit of a dip unless it's Leinster. I mean, Leinster are a bit of an anomaly at the moment. They are
12.
And then they're dominating the champion. They're the best team in Europe at the moment. But like, not every team can be like that. You will go through your dip, and I still think, and I still am confident that the Vodacom Bulls can finish the season in second. I really am, Marcos, especially with the games coming.
So we were at this point after 13 games. We played 13 games. This time last season we were 7-6.
Yeah.
Now we are 8-5. So as you mentioned, 7 points better. Yeah. Better win record overall. But there's one stat I found out last night, right? Going through the bowels of the internet that I found. Okay, we've only had 5 home games out of 13. 5 home games, okay? That is the fewest in the URC, along with the Lions, Glasgow, and Sharks. Remember, the Sharks still have 2 games in hand. So really, you can take them out of the equation. So we, along with the Lions and Glasgow, we have the fewest home games in the whole URC, right? Treviso have played 8 home games. Leinster, the team we're raving about, have played 7 home games. So that puts things into perspective. Now, the schedule's heavily weighted against us. We've got a nice period now. We're going to catch up a little bit in terms of home games. That has a massive effect. Yeah. Only 5 home games, so let's take things down a notch and understand where we are. We've done really well to be where we are at the moment. 8-5 after 13 games, and I firmly believe that we can go substantially further.
Yeah, I also agree, and I think, like I said, Mark, I'm still sticking with the Bulls finishing second. But we'll chat about our record.
Okay, let's do that now. Prediction going forward, our record, Cakes. We've got 5 games in hand to go. Just a word on that. Where do you see us landing?
Okay, fine. So our next game is Stormers. So let's get the 5 games. So it's Stormers, Lions, Zebre, Leinster,
and Ulster.
Leinster's
our last one. Ulster's,
just the 5 games. So Marco, so we obviously had a chat. Out of those 5 games, I'm confident. I'm very confident that we can win the Stormers and Leinster game because the boys are going to be up for it. It's going to be basically packed Loftus. It's going to be.
What's our win streak at Loftus now? It's like 13, 14 games. Exactly. Haven't lost since February last year.
Yeah. So the odds should be for us, but obviously those are 2 strong teams, Stormers and Leinster, and we haven't played the Stormers at home in that time.
Since then,
in that time. So it's insane. So I think we'll win those 2 games. Lions we will beat because that Lions game. It's going to be here as well. Yeah, it is. Yeah, the Lions game is here at Loftus as well, but obviously it's Lions. And then Zebre is going to be a curtain raiser game. Mark told me a curtain raiser. So we're not going to Italy.
Yeah.
So we
not that makes a difference.
Yeah, that makes a difference. Yeah, we'll dominate them in the high ball shape. Get a bonus point, like a nice heavy bonus point. Points difference might matter in that game.
Yeah.
And then the game that I think we may fall short because I have to be realistic. Mark and I have to be realistic that we can't say we're going to go for a 5-0 in the URC.
Win streak,
in the URC when you're playing, the Leinster, Stormers, and Ulster in those 5 games. I mean, that's ridiculous.
Yeah. 3 of the top 4.
Yeah, 3 of the top 4. There you go. And then so I think the Ulster game in Belfast could be where we fall short, but we definitely back the boys to win it though. We'll pitch to support them.
I agree with you. So I think we're saying that with our final 5 games, our record that we're looking at is a 4-1 record, 4 wins, 1 loss. As you said earlier, it would be very arrogant to sit here and say we're going to go 5-0, undefeated in the last 5. I think beating Leinster at home here, beating the Stormers at home here, those are 2 massive wins. If we fall short, we still back us to go to Belfast and win that game. Also a top 4 team, one of the best coached, one of the best rosters in the league. So it's going to be a tough ask. So we're saying we could drop that game and go 4-1, which I think we'd all be happy with. That guarantees us a top 4 finish, maybe even a top 2 finish. Yeah. So we really well poised. Like, stick with this team, guys. We really well poised. As we said, only 5 home games so far out of 13, the fewest amount of home games in the league. We've got a long way to go in the season, and the future looks bright. All right, Cakes.
Yes, sir.
It's time of the show to introduce our guest. It's a man that goes by many names: Doggy, Winnie the Pooh, the man dipped in honey, the honey badger, the offload king, but as you all at home might know him, Lionel Mapoe.
Oh yeah. Are you in there?
Hi guys. Hi, good to be here. Thank you.
Also, Lionel, thanks for joining us. So I read out your nicknames. You might not have heard all of those before.
No, some of them I heard for the first time. Now.
Yeah. So we've got to ask, why did you deprive the fans by shaving off that iconic blonde beard, mate?
Good question. Good question. No, I just I felt like a little bit of a change, man. I was like, I might still go back to it.
Yeah, please.
Because people have gotten used to it now. But anyways, the feedback I got like from my teammates, like from the obviously shaved beard, it's like I shaved 10 years of my career. So
you look a lot younger, but like you know that Winnie the Pooh, the man dipped in nanny. That's from our commentary. So like now, what am I going to say when it's over? I need to find something else.
Maybe in future you still be able to, but
Okay,
for now,
But then the one that your teammates call you is Doggy, correct?
yeah.
Can we ask how you got that name?
Yeah, we actually can. That name was given to me by Coach Swayze the Brain.
Okay.
So normally the guys called me OGD, and original gangster dog,
Yeah.
who just stood for, and then it was too long, and then Coach Swayze just said, "No, I'm gonna call you Doggy." So Doggy stick ever since. So everybody, you just see Doggy. Everybody says it's going to say Doggy. So
That's awesome.
We love it.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
like
But you mentioned our Coach Sway, so I think let's just jump ahead and ask about the time at the Lions, because you got over 100 caps there, if I'm not mistaken. 3 Super Rugby finals in a row. Perhaps let's start there. The 3 Super Rugby finals in a row. Just a word on that. I mean, getting so close to the pinnacle, being arguably easily one of the best teams in the tournament 3 years in a row, but not quite getting over the line.
yeah, that was some memorable times. Loved it, obviously. Been there for quite a while, and yeah, it was actually good to, just to win games, man. Like before that, we didn't win many games, so we didn't. There wasn't that winning culture, and then things just started to look up. I think it was from 2015, and then since then, the guys or the team that I played in, the guys were pretty good. A lot of no-name guys. People probably wouldn't have known the guys back then, but as a team, we had like so many losses before that, and we went through that together. So I think that like obviously took us to the next step where we got to play in a final. Would have loved to win a final, but can't have everything going your way.
That's 2016 final should have won, surely.
Shoulda, coulda, woulda.
Yeah.
Shoulda, coulda, woulda.
You know what you said? Actually, Sheep made like a reference to that. Like, rugby, sometimes you need to go through those hard times together as a unit. It's a process, and and that's proper. I'm just agreeing with you. That's proper with the Lions.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just wanted to know. I just want to quickly go back. Let's rewind.
Okay.
If you don't mind, let's rewind to PE. I think you're 10 years old when you leave PE to go to Bloemfontein. Please take us back to that time. Why did the family move? Was it a family move? Was it a rugby move? And also, did you start rugby in PE or did you start rugby once you were in Bloemfontein?
I was actually in a small town's school, Thornhill, in the Eastern Cape, and to be honest, I actually did like long distance running.
Okay.
So we were quite big for that, like long distance running. We used to run the train race back then. Obviously, I used to play rugby, but rugby wasn't as big for me back then. When I moved to Bloemfontein, I started to get more into rugby, playing under 11, and all the age groups. I would say moving to Bloemfontein obviously kicked off that rugby playing career.
And were you always a centre?
No. I actually started at lock. And then
Wow.
there's one game, I can remember. I got the ball from 22 and I ran straight through the team and I was quite fast. And then the next game I found myself on outside centre. So
Nice.
then I started to play outside centre. Everything is history ever since.
Legend was born. So you went to Fichard Park, correct? Am I pronouncing that correctly?
Fichard Park, yes.
Okay.
Yes. First it was Kudniman Primary, and
Okay.
then I went to Fichard Park, my senior.
Is it true that you played first team at under 15 level?
Yeah, I played the first team, so I don't know how it feels like playing under 16.
Yeah, really.
So I played the first team at under 15. No, when I was under 15, I played first team.
Yeah, and was Fichard Park? I'm not too familiar with them.
It's not a very big rugby school. We got a few hidings from Grey College, but we were competitive.
But you
with
played
the other
them?
teams. Yeah,
Yeah.
we played like Steve
Well, they had a
Jackson.
15-year-old in first team.
It was fun though.
And you played Lock under 11.
But then, so just perhaps a point on that, on the route coming from not a traditional rugby giant school in South Africa, and you probably have to work that much harder to get noticed, don't you?
Yeah, obviously. You know what happened was I went to under 13 trials this one time, 1 year, but I got there and I was like the shortest person there, almost the shortest person there, but all the guys were like way taller and massive. Then I knew I said to myself, I'm not going to make it this year. Maybe I might have to come back the following year, and I didn't feel comfortable. And obviously, I didn't make that year's under 13 Craven week. And then after that, I knew that that I'm going to have to work a lot more harder, on my craft and on what I do and how I play the game. I went back. Came back, I made under 16 Grand Como. So,
Awesome.
So that's obviously was just a stepping stone where I felt like, okay, nobody's going to do me any favors. I need to work extra hard. So when we play trials, I have to actually perform.
And just on that craft, working on your craft, like Mark mentioned one of your nicknames, you're throwing out, you love throwing out of the hand, offload king. Sorry, you're the offload king. Like where did that begin? Like, have you always played like that, like with such flair, or like is it something that you had to like work on, or does it come naturally to you?
I would say for a youngster you have to work on it, but
sure.
Yeah, you have to work on it. But for me, it was actually quite natural. So I don't like go in and think, okay, I'm gonna just run through and I'm like premeditate. I do play it in my head before a game, but I don't decide like in the week I want to get like 5 or 6 offloads. In the game, it happens when there's a little bit of line break. I've got a little bit of momentum. I'm through the contact, and I can get my hands free.
And then is it like muscle memory for you?
Yeah, and if I can get my hands free, and I know you scan and you know where the players are, and then you just let that motion go. So yeah. Obviously, the art of it, you probably can train it here and there, but in game it just comes more naturally. So I won't force it. I won't force to do it, and then
Does it help playing with a guy like Harold, who you guys played with for so many years at the Lions, came back? It just was like clockwork when you guys just reunited again, playing in that Currie Cup final against the Sharks. You scored. You were both involved in the opening 2 tries, both peaches of tries. Does that help that relationship you might have off the field as well?
No, definitely. I mean, we've known each other for a while. We've obviously played a lot of games together. The previous union, it helps. It really helps, obviously, to rekindle that midfield combination again, and it actually felt so good, especially like winning the Currie Cup with him also, and it was quite a great feeling, and great season that was. We just sort of understand each other. We trust each other on the field. Sort of like what your partner was going to do on the field. Yeah, I think because we had like a lot of experience together, I think that just came through, the Currie Cup season.
And then I wanted to also ask you, Mr. Mapoe, so just on your time at, first, okay, let's start here, your time in France. Let's speak about that. Your time in France, tell us about Stade Francais. Everyone we've had a barring DK and Stedman have all played in France, right? Yeah. So your time at Stade Francais, and then I think you find yourself out of contract, then you moved to Niche. Tell us about that time, that period in your career that
Niche.
It's niche. It's a niche.
Niche
or niche? Niche.
We call it niche and niche.
Niche. Okay, niche. Okay, but and you moved not niche.
It's the worldwide.
Yeah. And you moved to Nice. So that period, you moved, and I saw an article. You said like a lot of guys were out of contract and stuff. It was quite a tough period in your career, I would imagine. Please let us know how you get through those tough periods and like how it was in France.
It was quite an experience, I must tell you. Obviously, I was looking forward to go to France, to go to Paris, and I signed a 2-year deal at Stade Francais. But I think back now, then I think to myself, maybe it's timing, because when I went there, we had South African coaches at the time, obviously, and it was nice, and the city was nice. The guys were pretty welcoming, and then COVID hit. So I think I don't like to talk about it, but COVID affected that whole the whole motion, and everything was set into place at that time, and and then the time came where I had to, obviously I was there for 1 year, still 1 year, I had 1 year left in my contract, and then COVID hit. Was in an apartment for a long time. That wasn't fun, but my family obviously got me through that, and I just obviously just wanted to be like positive, and they kept me positive,
They were there with you.
Yeah, they came obviously at the later
massive,
stage also, because I was there for a while, and they came at the later stage. They kept me actually positive, speaking to my family, even speaking to my family back home. And they sort of like got me through that period. Obviously, we could still like move. When it was peak COVID, you can still move like within 1 kilometer radius of your apartment, and I could go jog, and I could go run, go do stairs. It was quite a tough time, but the time I moved to Nice was my second year. So that was quite also like a nice wake up call, and but refreshing change in scenery and change of environment.
On the coast.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean,
Yo,
yes,
wow.
I loved. Yeah, it was really nice. The family loved it down there. It was I must say, because it was a third division team, it wasn't like the pressure was less.
Yeah.
So I would play 1 week, and 1 week I would rest. So it was more like a holiday. Paid by myself. Paid holiday. Paid holiday. Yeah, but I enjoyed my time at Nice. I played for Stade Niçois there, and they were very ambitious like third division team. But I enjoyed the time there. Obviously, I felt I could still play at the highest level. I could still feel that I could still feel it. Yeah. Obviously, I never knew that I would be back at the Bulls again. But yeah, they gave me that opportunity, and here I am.
So how did that come about? About the call or the decision to come back, and how did that take place? That move back to South Africa and ultimately to the Bulls.
Obviously the move came up. Well, the Bulls came, and obviously they said they are interested in me. I also had the option to stay in France, so I had to make a decision. Do I want to stay that side, or obviously am I going to come back, and what type of rugby do I see myself in the future playing? Because at that moment I was playing in the third division team, and to me, I wasn't really sure if, because obviously if I was going to play, say, in the top 14 again, or in a higher competition again, I felt I could offer way more than that. And then obviously the Bulls came with the offer, and I was jumping at it, because I could come back and still play competitive rugby, because it would be a shame if I let my talent go to waste, and I haven't served the game to the best as much as I would have still liked to, obviously at this age. So and when they came and they said there's an opportunity, and then I grabbed it with both hands, and then I told my family, we haven't seen our wider family in 2.5 years. There's an opportunity to get back to South Africa again, and I can play rugby at the highest level again. So.
And how quality is that? And we come to the Bulls playing in URC now and playing against top 14 opposition.
Top 14, so you understand. So I'm like, I'm like challenging myself, and I know I can do better. So there's a lot of good competition in our squad as well. So, and that's something I wanted the last year that I was in France, like that competition, and that how can I put it? The world to want to play at the highest level.
Just one question I've always wanted to know about French second or third division rugby, because I read Victor Matfield's autobiography, and he was saying he was playing like second division France, and he was saying that there's like what happens in the rocks, in the scrums, there's like a free fall. So the punches get thrown, things like I just want to know, what was your experience? Did you experience any of that?
No, I was in a game. I would like stand there and I'm like think, okay, these guys get away with a lot more than you would like in a Premier Division. Yeah, you definitely get away with way more. Obviously, the quality maybe of refereeing is probably not up there at the moment, but for them it's probably still a working class or a work in progress. Yeah.
But then, how was that transition coming back? So you're playing in these. You must have been like Godzilla over there playing it. Like, let's be honest.
Must have been tearing it up.
And you come back here and like, what's the Because obviously, suddenly the competition increases tenfold. You come back here, but you seem like your transition was pretty seamless. There wasn't any like rusty period playing for the Bulls.
Yeah, because the team that I was playing in, they were quite a good team. Quite a bunch of guys that was willing to play a little bit of rugby, move the ball around. So actually, the transition here was actually quite easy. And South African is in my blood, so how I used to play. And I can tell you, obviously, I was here in 2013, and being here now, it's worlds apart of how the Bulls were back then and how the Bulls are now.
Yeah.
You see now they have obviously we promote like playing like a good brand of rugby, moving the ball around, not just bashing the ball up, and that's right up in my alley. I'm sort of that link also that can gel the players together. So it was quite easy. I must say it was quite easy coming back here and obviously playing again. I just didn't know if I was going to have the lungs to run with the youngsters.
Yeah, but and speaking of the youngsters, there was another article I read like about Canan Moodie. Do you remember that when he was ringing your praises about like how you are the man that that told him to just take it easy, you know what I mean? Everything will come naturally. And I saw you the other day, I think a week or so before you guys went to Wales on tour, before you went on tour, sorry, you were chatting to Wandi Similani in his ear while the boys were running, the team was going to start on the weekend. You were in his ear, you're in the young boys' ears. Like, I think that must be so great for the youngsters. Where does that come from? Is that just passing down of information?
Yeah, probably I'll give that to experience. Obviously, I've been through, I've played a couple of years. I'm open to learning, and the youngsters we have, the Bulls, they are open to learning. And it's good for me to be able to talk to a youngster and just say, what do you think about this? What do you think about that? Don't you think that would be better like this or be better like that? So I'm just like trying to just add sort of like I said, my 10 cents to where I can, and if you take my advice, I don't know, maybe you will, maybe you will not. But I'm here to make them better as well, as a player as well. So I'm here to challenge them as well. Otherwise, nothing in life is easy. If everything comes easy, it wouldn't be worth it. So yeah, I'm just there to give my 10 cents, talk to the youngsters, make them be positive, make them feel positive about themselves and how they want to play and obviously in where they're going.
I wanted to ask you were rooming with Canan Moodie. What were the dynamics there? You know what I mean? The old man and the youngster, because I saw that he roomed with you before the first game played.
He's only 34.
I'm having a bite. I'm having a poke.
I'm not there. No, obviously we roomed together. I think my roomie wasn't there. My roomie, I always call him Roompa Kono.
It's a corner.
That must be the Portuguese.
Yeah, so obviously people would know if I say Roompa what I'm talking about. Yeah, but me and obviously Kenny roomed, and it's like it makes me smile to speak to like youngsters like him that wants to learn, and he is obviously acquiring mindset, so he wants to learn. So he's gonna ask me, about something, and I can tell him, okay, I also played wing in earlier on in my career, so I can tell him this year, this, that, and that. So like I said, I can give him advice on how to play and how to go about it. Obviously, it's ultimately up to him to go on the field and perform. And yeah, like I can't remember all the things I said to him, but I did say to him that he mustn't force things. So yeah, normally what youngsters do when you get the opportunity, you want to come into the team and then you want to force stuff, and then most times it doesn't come off, and then that one game can actually can hurt your career, or can hurt your confidence in moving forward. So yeah, so I just told him he has it, he's got it, and you should just take it easy and just do what comes naturally to him, and that's play rugby, and that's what we had to do.
But on that point, I think he took your advice to heart in his Springbok debut, because I remember he was having, I don't want to say a quiet first half, but he was clearly just playing his natural game, making his tackles. As we know, he's brilliant. They're brilliant in the air. He definitely wasn't forcing anything, and you just felt like something was coming. And then he goes up for that high ball against Quarabete, jumps up, leaps up, plays his natural game, which is in the air. I mean, the guy's 6'3", wins the ball, scores that try. So what were you thinking when you saw that? I mean, you must have been going crazy.
Yeah, we were like jumping and shouting, jumping and shouting, put on the group, Canan Moodie. Yeah, it just shows you the maturity of the youngster, like the maturity. I'm saying maybe in how can I put it, in the advice that he takes in, and then and what he takes in and what he obviously puts out there. For a youngster, I feel he's very mature, obviously in his game, and he has so much room to grow, and that's what I like about him. He wants to learn. So I told him he's going to go very far. He's going to achieve so much more, and he already achieved. The young player.
Oh my goodness, unbelievable!
Yeah, brilliant.
So that's just for me. I'm just smiling and I'm like, Moodie.
Let's go. Yeah.
Moodie.
Speaking of Springboks, we can't not speak about you in the Springboks.
Yeah.
Your time with the Springboks, Mr. Mapoe. I mean, take us through that time. Take us that phone call you got to call up to the Springbok camp, and then obviously running out to play your first test
Against the All Blacks.
Against the All Blacks.
Yeah.
I mean, take us through that period, please, sir.
I was actually in the Springbok mix for a couple of years before I made my debut. Like I went to camps maybe for 3 or 4 years or so. I went to camps. I was there. I was in the meetings.
Even when you were at the Cheetahs, weren't you? You were already called up.
Yeah, I was. So it was 2009. No, there was like I was called up, but I was not called up.
Okay.
Anyways, Peter said to me, he's gonna take somebody else. But I was a youngster back then. I was just like happy that my name is actually mentioned up there. So that was quite nice. But yeah, I spent a little bit of time before I made my debut in 2015. Yeah, at Emirates Airline Park. Yeah, and I must say I didn't know how to feel. Like I was very excited before the game, to go on the field and to go play. And I mean, it's against the All Blacks in a packed stadium. I actually only got like 3 minutes.
Where was it?
Where was it?
It was at Emirates Airline Park.
Yes, yeah.
It was and I actually got 3 minutes. I was very excited, obviously making my debut, but still, I wanted to play more.
Sure.
Yeah. So yeah, but that was the start of it, like in 2015, and I'm grateful that I obviously made my Springbok debut then. Yeah, it was quite a roller coaster time because I was like playing very well, and then at some stages probably went out of form and then come back into form again, and then go out of form and then come back into form again. But after that, I couldn't look back because then I got the rest of my 13 caps the following years.
So you got an extended run of 2016, correct? When you were starting 13. Obviously, it was not a great time for South African rugby in the Springbok, but for you personally, you got a nice extended run there at 13. So just perhaps a word on that.
Yeah, it was quite nice. Obviously, the dynamics was a little bit different. I felt, way back then, I felt that because we at the Lions we were pretty good. I mean, we were
the best
top
team.
2,
Exceptional.
top 3. Do you understand? So you can't tell me those players are not good enough to play in national level. And yeah, we had a couple of players in the national setup. Yeah, my time there was less than that because now we used to play a certain type of game plan, and now when we go to Springboks we play a different type of game plan.
Yeah.
So then now we had to adapt obviously to what that was, and it was a good experience for me in my life, and I learned a lot from that. Obviously, when I think back, then I thought to myself, why couldn't have been like in a different era? Do you understand? But that's what it is. That's the card that I was dealt with, and it was fun playing up there. Obviously, there was a lot of politics still in that time. So, yeah.
So I remember, like the Lions always weren't getting game time. Like I remember Cornbrink was coming off the bench. He had that insane game debut against Ireland. But Alton was also kind of used sparingly. Faf was like there and thereabouts, but there was a lot of guys playing for the Lions. Yaku Kriel, like Warren Whiteley, who were just playing week in week out that just weren't really getting game time with the ball. It was just a strange time.
Yeah, I just feel like they were just I just feel like they were just being selected because the Lions were playing good rugby at the time. You know what I mean? And they had no plans to play them, so it was just weird for me at the time. Because if you think about it, I think if you get a group of players together, put a group of players together, you kind of build the team around them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that's how international rugby works, especially in South Africa.
Yeah.
So like I don't know what happened, but anyway.
Yeah.
But
history.
We won't delve any deeper. Your last game for the Bucks against Argentina, Mendoza, I was actually there for that game. I was traveling with the Bucks. I think I was the only South African in the crowd. Now, you scored 2 tries off the bench.
I'm trying to think. Was it my last game? Was it? Yeah, I was on the bench. I came on for. I'm not too sure.
Mapimps, wasn't it?
Yeah, I came on for Mapimps. Yeah.
Scored 2 tries.
Yeah, that was quite nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, my one try got like this loud. Well, I thought it was a try. I think we were playing in Nelspruit, Mpumalanga. Yeah, and I was going for the dive, and then to me it was a try. The ball looked like it slipped out of my hands, but
Here we go.
initially I fell on top of it, downward pressure. To me, it was a try, and obviously they disallowed.
Okay, which game was this? We need to go back and we need to find this.
It was Argentina.
It's got to find this.
Yeah.
It was against
The truth will
Argentina.
come out.
I'm not too sure like when it was. Like, yeah, anyways, we lost that game.
Yeah.
Okay, so then
Good sign.
in Argentina, in Mendoza, it's like one of the weirdest experiences I've had in terms of the crowd. It was like dead quiet. It was ridiculous. You could hear the players talking on the field. It was mad.
But the stadium's full.
Yeah, like pretty full. It's a weird stadium.
It's always like that. Like especially when you play in Argentina, you'll feel that vibe when they're a little bit down or the team is a little bit behind. You hear nothing.
Yeah.
But once
they score.
Yeah, once their team is in front, and then they go crazy.
Yeah, they do. There's they've got that mesh or whatever you call it that protects the players from the fans. So it's weird. Anything else on books?
No, nothing from books. Well, just one thing. It's also I think how many caps you have? 7s. You played a little bit of 7s.
I played a couple of tournaments.
Yeah, a couple of tournaments.
6 or 7 tournaments.
Yes, 6, 7. How was that? Did you enjoy that?
I thoroughly enjoyed that. That was quite nice. I remember because I was in the group. I was still a youngster, and I was in the group. The team went to go play. I think it was in Hong Kong or Australia. Anyways, they went for the tournament, and on that weekend, I think me and South Africa were the youngsters, and we were going to play in the Cape Town Tens that time.
Villages.
Yeah. So we were like quite excited, obviously, to play on the day. And then I just got the call that the morning of when we were supposed to play. The morning, okay, no, you can't play. You have to fly now. I think Stick got injured. I'm not too sure if Stick got injured, and I replaced him. Yeah. So that was quite nice. Yeah, and I had quite a good time. I played with the guys. You know, it's good to play with some of the. It was good to play with some of the older heads in the game. And it was fun. It was a fun time. A lot of stuff, a lot of learnings as well that I took from that. Yeah, and that was the year actually we won the 7 series for the first time. So that was quite nice, to be a part of that whole system, So
okay, I've got a question in terms of learnings, experience, all of that you mentioned now. How is Lionel Mapoe as a player now compared to how you were maybe early in your career playing for the Cheetahs, even when you just arrived at the Lions? How do you view yourself as a player now, and what do you view your role in the team and going forward? How do you view yourself as a player as Lionel Mapoe right now?
Unreal. Great question.
Unreal. Let's just leave it at unreal. No, I obviously I think when I got into the game, I just wanted to just play, get the ball into my hands, and let me just play rugby. You know, when I got to the Lions, I was still a youngster. And I just wanted to play the game, get the ball into my hands, and I just wanted to, score tries. And I was still playing winger back then. Right now, my role is quite different. I think obviously is to, help the team grow, help the team win games. Also the way I look at the game now compared to back then is a bit different. So I probably ask a lot more questions now because now I obviously have that experience and. I can challenge a little bit more as to like the direction of some of the situations we put ourselves in. So yeah, so now I probably think I'm much more wiser. So for me, I just need I just want the team to do better. So I would do everything in my power for the team, to win games. So I would, if it is playing the role of getting the youngsters on a positive mindset, giving them advice, and that's what I do. If it means putting me on the field, and I have to break lines, I have to tackle, I have to organize the defense, and that's what I'm going to do. So yeah, I think now I'm much more overall, more maybe without the speed, more complete player as I was back then. Without the speed, the speed plays a big part in that as well. Eh? So
But those first 10 meters, man, those first 10 meters matter. They matter.
No, we can talk on the first 20. Maybe, yeah. So yeah, I think I'm much more wiser, and obviously that's how my role also changed. Like started changing in the team setup.
LM13?
Yeah.
Go for it.
Yeah, go. So LM13, you become a bit of an icon to the young rugby players. I think from the old heads of rugby now, you become quite an icon. LM13, your socials are pumping. So you can just tell us about LM13 first, and then yeah.
Yeah, man. I just really wanna. It's my brand, my baby. I just really wanna push it, like put it out there for all the people that are fans and the youngsters, and obviously the people that supports Lionel Mapoe, and yeah, that's just my brand that I want to grow with. So at the moment, it's still a little bit in the puppy phases. So, but I'm looking to push it, and get it out there, get it in people's mouths and the youngsters. I want to get it to the youngsters. Obviously, expand more, obviously, as it grows. So yeah, it's just my baby. I'm doing grub socks, so grub socks at the moment. Yeah, so yeah.
And it's used by a lot of. Obviously you use it. So Marish Tamwe is using it, even over in Bordeaux. Keegan Johannes, quite a few guys. So if you want to get your hands on it, how do you do that?
At the moment, you can message LM13 the page on Instagram, or you message me direct. I'm easy. I'm okay. No, close to DMs. Yeah, but at the moment you can get it. You can obviously message LM13 direct, and also recently I've partnered with the Recover It SA, so it's nice as well. So you guys can probably visit that Recover It SA. It's just in here at Loftus, so you'll see when you walk in, you'll see the product there as well. So yeah, like I said, it's still a baby, and it's still a baby in the baby phases, and I'm obviously looking forward for it to grow.
Stunning. Cakes, any more questions? Can we go into quick fire?
I'm good.
Okay, Lionel, second last segment. We're going to just throw some quick fire questions off the top of the dome. Rugby idol growing up.
I'm not.
No political questions, all right? Rugby idol growing up.
That can't be quick fire though, if you say rugby idol growing up, because there was like
you can think about it for a bit.
There was like so many.
But the first one that comes to mind was
Okay.
the first one that comes to mind.
Okay, shoot.
Rugby idol growing up.
Sterling Mortlock.
Brilliant. Okay, that's a great shot. Yeah. Best player you ever played with?
Best player. Okay, this one go down. I would have to say Cornel Hendricks.
You have to.
Best player you ever played against?
Manonu.
Favorite try?
There's so many.
They're coming down.
Yeah, my 50th game, Super Rugby game against Fisher Cheetahs, I actually scored a hat-trick that day.
Favorite offload? Maybe a more difficult.
All of them.
I've got one in mind if I can.
Which one is that?
The one we went crazy for this one. It was a Curry Cup game. You're playing Western Province, where your reaction after you saw I don't know who caught it. Your reaction after you caught it, you went crazy. That was
that was. See, that's the stuff you can't train for those. It's not like I go and I do that. So that's just instinct.
But if that didn't come off, surely the coach is going to have.
What were you doing? And I'm like, the player was there. I'm sure he was there, and I'm just seeing him like half a second ago.
Okay, we'll list that one as favorite offload. Favorite door.
Top.
Yeah, drink.
Whiskey.
Okay, nice. Who would you take to war in the team?
In my team. Definitely Colonel Andrews.
Okay,
Definitely.
he's gonna love this.
Yeah.
Definitely.
I don't know if I can ask this one. I'm gonna ask it anyway. You don't have to answer.
Just ask
Bulls
him.
or Lions?
Okay.
I know, okay. Joburg or Pretoria?
Bulls.
Oh, nice.
Bulls,
Okay.
There you go. You next day biscuits.
Who wouldn't you let date your daughter in the team?
Ambrose Papin.
That's brilliant. I can't believe you went for it.
I had to. Oh, we won't ask why.
Don't.
Oh yeah, last segment. Lionel, we're getting every guest that comes on here to write down their MVP in the team. Doesn't have to be the guy who's the flashiest or whatever, but the guy who you think adds the most, contributes the most on the field, off the field, all of that. But we'll keep it anonymous, so no one at home will see. We'll obviously see, and then we'll just ask you a question as to why. Obviously, just don't give up the identity. So,
Team's MVP.
yeah.
I'm quite interested in that. No, I'm talking about
Gonna write himself.
Now I'm trying to think. Now.
Like in the world, like American sport.
That's a great question.
Who you got? Come on, do this. You guys are like awesome.
I think I know who's going to say it, but
You think?
Colonel Henry.
You might not be wrong. I'm just trying to think now. This is quite difficult.
No, it is.
These guys they are so amazing rugby players. It's crazy. And at their young age. Okay. I want to put it down. It's between two.
have to write
It's
one.
between two.
You have to write one.
Right?
Have to write one.
Okay. Please don't check the spelling.
Fair enough.
Okay.
Good
why
or
would
not?
you? No, brilliant. Why would you pick this player?
Probably going to give it away if I say why. Because no, he's a very good player. Yes, I mean, people will doubt him. I think you will always you would say he will play in the shadow of someone, but I'm just thinking that he's paving his own path at the moment with how he plays every game. You know, he would take on the biggest guy. He would run in the biggest guy. so yeah, he's just awesome talent. Like overall, he's a great rugby player. He's a good rugby brain.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, last question. What do you want to say to young players that watch you play? You obviously view yourself as a mentor, and you've been a mentor for the guys at the moment, guys like Canan, everyone, all the young players. What message would you have to the youngsters watching you? What advice would you give them?
Just always believe. You must always believe in yourself. I mean, people are going to say that you can't do it. No, you're too small. You're too slow. Just always believe in yourself. Work hard. You don't have to tell anybody how hard you work. You just work hard. Work in silence, and just prove to yourself that you're actually good enough. Because I think people outside of your circle can easily like force your choice and saying okay, and force you not to believe in yourself. So just believe in yourself, trust in God, and you'll be okay.
Perfect. We'll leave it there.
Awesome.
What an end. Thank you so much, Lionel. We really appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thanks, Lionel.
Appreciate it. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Okay, perhaps it's time to look at our bets, Cakes.
Yes,
our World
sir.
Sports betting segment.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes,
Okay,
sir.
I'll
Wanna
bring
start,
you in
huh?
here. Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Just want to quickly chat about our last bets.
Yep.
KK, we both went 2-2.
Yep.
So currently you sit a game better than me, which absolutely kills me to my core. I'm sitting with a 3-5 record. You're a 4-4 record. You at 500. I'm slightly below. My bets. I went Bulls to beat Scarlets. We both took a fat L there. I said Ulster to beat Stormers. Convincing win for Ulster, 35-3. I said Glasgow to beat Dragons. I believe Glasgow is one of the best teams in the comp. My big prediction is they're going to finish in the top 4. They beat the Dragons handily. And then my crazy bet, and I can't believe I put this on camera for people to see, Lions to beat Connacht. It was a shocker. in Connacht,
shock of the game.
at that pitch that slopes in front of those fans. Connacht, a physical team. Lions got pelted, so that was a nightmare for me, and I finished 2-2.
Yeah, 2-2. Also 2-2. Marcos. I've said Bulls to beat Scarlets. Need I say more? Go away. Stormers to beat Ulster away. They got absolutely pumped as well. It was a second team, but like I just had to go for it because of the odds. But they got pumped. The Stormers youngsters got pumped there. Munster to beat Benetton away. Yeah, they won there. But what was 40-30, if I'm not mistaken, that game. So it was a high scoring game. So Benetton pitch. Benetton they can play a bit of rugby. Yeah? They surprised me this season as well. So they'll probably be thinking that they can make top 8. Then Sharks to beat Edinburgh away, and they did in probably the best game I've seen. Outside of some of the Bulls games in the URC. It was insane.
That was impressive.
What a finish. Man down. Sharks held strong to defend their line. Unbelievable by the Sharks to win that game. And I went 2-2 again. And yeah, that's me.
Okay, where are we going this week? Let's start with your bet.
Yeah.
What are you betting?
Yeah, so I've gone for Sharks to beat Stormers, Marcus, and in Durban, Sharks obviously got lots of.
And then, sorry, just to tell everyone home, we're betting on that lone URC game, and then we're going to bet on 2 of the 3 Six Nation games, and then we're each picking 1 top 14 game. That's the pool we're picking from this weekend. Sorry, go ahead.
Awesome. So, and then Sharks to beat Stormers at home in Durban. Obviously, Sharks are in great form at the moment, especially that win against Edinburgh away, like we spoke about. They, without their start, they still managed to get the results. So I think they'll beat Stormers at home, and they're 1.39 favourites there. So I went for them. Wales to beat Ireland at the Principality Island, world number 1, if I'm not mistaken, Mark. Am I right?
Yeah.
World number 1.
Wayne Pivak out. In comes, what do they call it? Warren Ball.
Warren Ball.
Warren Gatlin's back.
Yeah, Warren Gatlin's back for Wales. When Mark told me that, because to be honest, I didn't know that Warren Gatlin's back at Wales. I was like, hey, you have to go for these buggers at the Principality, and they're 3.3 underdogs. I would thought there would be like 5 or something underdogs, to be honest, but I think it's the Principality. It's a Principality situation. So Wales to beat Ireland, then Racing to beat Pau. They underdogs away. I was surprised at this, but Mark, I was saying to Mark, all the French teams. When they play away, it doesn't matter who they are, it just seems like they're underdogs. But Racing to beat Pau, great odds, 2.48 away. And they just come up with a victory against La Rochelle last week. And then England to beat Scotland at Twickenham. And they are 1.1 favourites there.
Okay, so I'm backing you with the Sharks Stormers game. I think Sharks, just too much quality, playing in Durban, horrible place to play rugby. Odds heavily favoured against, heavily favoured the Sharks. I'm going Sharks to beat Stormers. I'm going Ireland to beat Wales, backing the best team in the world at the moment. Although that's up for debate, but statistically they are. I'm then going Scotland to beat England. This is my big bet. Of course, Eddie Jones out. In comes Steve Borthwick, his first game coaching England. New English team. A lot of surprise omissions from the squad. I think Scotland's well up for it. I know it's at Twickers, but I think Scotland are well up for that. Scotland are a good team. Gregor Townsend's a good coach, so I'm backing Scotland to win that. I think the odds are at 4.5. So crazy odds. Go for Scotland there if you want to win some cash. And then lastly, I'm going my other big bet. I'm going Toulon to beat Montpellier. I know it's a little bit crazy, but I'm gonna go for that. That's my final bet, and that's that. Let's see what happens, Cakes. It's very interesting, exciting. World Sports betting bets, but
very close between us as
very
well.
close between us. Lot to play for. And I think we'll leave the podcast there. Thank you so much for tuning in. From myself and Cakes, it's been a wonderful chat with Lionel Mapoe, the Doggy, or the Honey Badger, whatever you want to call him, the Off-Road King, and then landed some nice bets. Looked at that Scarlets game, and I think we're really well poised for the rest of the competition.
Cheers.
Cheers.